Good morning, everybody. John here with FNP Wargamers, and this is the FNP Morning Show. It has been a couple days since the last show. I think Friday was the last one. I could be wrong. Getting my days mixed up this time of year. Yes, the studio is still not up and running. Best way to put it, I effed off all weekend, shirked all my responsibilities, and played Horizon Zero or Horizon Zero Dawn on PS4 all weekend. Put in about 15, probably about close to 20 hours over the weekend. Finally beat it, and now I'm just wrapping up some side stuff. But so I pretty much goofed off the entire weekend. I had lots of plans, and I just effed off. So I'm paying for it now because I've got a lot of stuff to do here at the holiday time. Lots of stuff going on. So let's talk about a few things. I'm going to try to go through this stuff as fast as possible. First, let's talk about what's on Warhammer community page. Normally, I kind of bypass these articles they do about these hobbying articles. They're usually good, but they're not super informative. But for once, I'm going to recommend, especially for those of you that are looking for doing a kind of winter themed or snowy themed army, for your basing, for everything else. This article is really well developed, I would say. And it does not matter which game you play. And it doesn't even matter if you're playing a Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, anything even Games Workshop related. If you're playing another game and you are trying to get a winter theme for your army, this article actually has a lovely breakdown. Also some color wheel action here if you've forgotten what your color wheel looks like and how to make sure you don't have clashing colors, you have complementary colors and whatnot. It's actually, I'm not going to read the whole thing for you. I'll let you read it, let you digest it. But it's really good on multiple ways to get that feeling, not just making your the basis for your models, your miniatures, your army, whatever it is that you're working on with kind of a winter or snow themed, but how to get the rest of your army in sync with it so it complements each other and doesn't just look stale. Cold. Excuse me. You do want it to look cold, obviously, but there are ways to pull it off with having warmer tones and cold tones with our colors within the entire model. So if you're already planning doing a winter theme and you've got your color palette already worked out, give this article a once over just to make sure you're on track to maximize the potential of your army. You don't want to just kind of go half-ass in and like, oh, I'm just going to throw snow there and maybe some snow in their shoulder pads or their armor or whatever. And yeah, they're all wintry. Yeah, that does work. But if you want to take it that step further, take a look at the article. It's fairly good. We're going to keep moving on. You all know my disappointment with Necromunda. Mainly that ridiculously overpriced set, the Underhive. Not the Underhive. Necromunda Dark Uprising. And I have good morning, Epion. I have lambasted it. I think that's the right term. I have torn it apart for several weeks, and I think I annoyed a couple of you because I've got some comments from Jonathan saying, hey, maybe not tear into Necromunda so much. People like it. And I do like Necromunda. I was just upset with the price. And I swore up and down that I was not going to get it. But I got it. I know. I swore up and down, and I have no justification, but I am going to tell you why I went ahead and bought it. First up, I get my employee discount, which is extremely generous from the store owners. Extremely generous. And then I had two different people want the two different the two different war bands that are in there. So they gave me money for that. And between that, my discount, I dropped it well below the 290 to where it was like buying a large Citadel terrain kit. I mean, that's literally all I got out of it was the terrain and I don't even have the rule book. I sold that off as well. It's the only reason why. Basically, it came down to I got it for $100, and that entire set for about $100 was worth it because the terrain itself, I never said was not fantastic. The box, just like Epion is saying there, just 290. Oh my God, what it was, the box itself was just too much. It's hard sell point to get people into the game with that cost. But the terrain is absolutely great. I'm slowly putting it together, and hopefully we'll see it. You'll see it here soon. Now, this article shows about how to kind of break it down, and I would really. It's very modular. Once you have the separate pieces put together, but it allows you to kind of move things around and interchange it. I don't know if I'm going to do that or I'm going to magnetize them because I'm going to essentially turn this piece of terrain into my display board for my excoriator army. Even though we're not going to Adepticon this year because we're goofing off on that very Sunday. We were supposed to buy Adepticon tickets and we missed out on all the things that we wanted to do. So we scrapped that idea. So I'm going to build this board and that army regardless. It's just now a little bit on the back burner. I don't have to rush around. So hopefully you'll see what I'm going to be doing with this. But the terrain is absolutely great. I've never had a complaint with the terrain. My only complaint has been with that price point. I thought that price point was extremely ridiculous. It was, $290. And to think that you are probably saving, at the end of the day, you're actually probably saving about $150. Sorry about that. So, yeah, I don't have much else to say. Yeah, I'll probably have to kick myself for buying it because absolutely said that Games Workshop wasn't going to get my money. And in a way, they didn't get my money. Because I guess they did. But they didn't get the full amount from me. I have no justification. I'm ashamed I bought it, but I'm also happy I bought it because if it wasn't for all that discounts and the money off for the people paying for the different parts, I would not have bought it. But it was just such a good opportunity to create a massive display board. So, I'll have to eat crow on that one. What I wanted to talk about, just briefly. I think Ski will cover this later, but I wanted to point out that there's some updates for Age of Sigmar. Make sure you take a look at these. Trying to. Okay, so let me see here. It looks like pretty much looks like every army. That's Underworld's Beastgrave. Okay, so yeah, it looks like every army, with the exception of the Maud tribes, which got an update in November. Everybody, including the General's Handbook, the main rule book, all the armies, and bases got some major updates. Even the base sizes, which is a rare thing. I have not seen anything like that before. Maybe it's just an Age of Sigmar thing, but they've updated the base sizes what you're supposed to be using. We might see something like that for Warhammer 40,000 in the near future. But I know Slaanesh got hammered pretty hard. Well, not hard. From my understanding, and I'm not going to go into it, Ski will be able to articulate it better, but essentially everybody is now in line with each other. There's some point adjustments, some changes to wording, basically FAQ and errata stuff. lot of clarifications. So make sure you check your army or armies. Check out your FAQs and errata. Give it a once over. Make sure that whatever changes you're aware of are or make sure you're aware of all your changes, and also check your base sizes. Like I said, I'm going to leave the rest of that to Ski. He'll be able to explain that way better than I can. I did not see anything for Warhammer 40,000. I know a lot of people were expecting a FAQ or errata for the, what's it called? Chapter approved, but it just came out like a week or so ago. So there's usually at least 2 weeks minimum before they make any changes. So don't expect anything right now. Probably right after the holidays, they'll do an update, or right around the first of the year. So, this weekend, before I move on to some other stuff, I should have the information for the Sisters of Battle. Sorry, I got my weeks mixed up. I thought this last weekend was the weekend before Christmas. That's this coming weekend. So sorry about that. I got my dates wrong. All right, real quick, a couple other things I want to point out is, let's talk about, let's see here. Let me check my time. Let me check what Epion said. I really want to like the Necromunda booklet in December White Dwarf. I want to try these out. I really want to like the game, but it's not super impressive. You know, Epion, it's a good game, but it's, compared to other skirmish level games out there, it is slow gameplay. It's very narrative oriented, which is fine. I'd like the narrative oriented, but there's so much. I would put Necromunda just below playing Infinity. So you're looking maybe at a regular game about an hour and a half to 2 hours, where like Infinity, a regular 300 point ITS game, you're looking at about 2.5 hours. So it's not that far behind, just because there's a lot of dice rolling and a lot of mechanics involved. I want to like Necromunda also. I just wish Games Workshop would do something different with the rules, but you know, I don't know. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to dwell on it too much. Something I wanted to talk about was, one above all, excuse me, I'm clearing my throat here. I've got a winter cold coming on. First, let me put up some news. I wanted to show off something that's coming up. Let's see here. Spotted in Japan is, I don't know how well you can, see if I can make it bigger on the screen here. The Chibi Warhammer 40,000s and their little dispensers there, that was seen in Japan. So we might be seeing those pop up on eBay very soon. Some enterprising young men and women will probably put them up on eBay. So, yay, they're coming. The first 5 of the Chibi series. This is Series 1. And if it follows like the Space Marine Heroes that they've got, so we're on Series 3 for them, those always start in Japan and make their way out to the rest of the world about 6 months to a year later, unfortunately. So we're going to be sitting on these probably for a while. A NIDS version of what, one above all? Are you looking for NIDS version for Necromunda or for the Chibis? So let me know what you think about that. Epion for Underhive Games for Cities of Sigmar. You should see if you can find rules for, not Necromunda, Mordheim. The rules are still relatively valid. Yeah, I agree with that. One above all is some chibi versions about the other races. We'll probably see those in the future. But Epion, I would take a look at Mordheim and see if that tickles your fancy. Still, the gameplay is a little I think it's a little faster than Necromunda, but you decide. anyways, I wanted to show this up or show this off. This appeared actually last week, and I just got the information in my inbox last night. So sorry I wasn't able to get that to you faster. So what else? Before I get into the Marvel stuff, a couple weeks ago in Faith and Fury, there was a lot of talk about a golden being waking up, the king, the creator of all, or something like that, all waking up. I can't find my notes, but oh, you know what? I can find my notes while I'm talking about this. And I believed it was, and I think a lot of other people believe it was or is the Emperor. I really don't know. I'm gonna totally be honest with you. I would like to think it's the Emperor of mankind that's waking up, but some people pointed out to me a couple things. Let's see. Did I have that quote? Oh, no, I don't have the quote. Gosh darn it. I was really hoping I had that quote locked down there. Darn it. Oh, well. And anyways, in Faith and Fury, they talk about the king arising and everything. And then in Blood of Ball, they talk about him as well. There's a little snippet here. I'm not going to read the full thing, but I'm just going to read the little scribble, the little poem or rhyme that this guy wrote under duress, pretty much being after he's been interrogated. It says, the king on his throne, I've seen him stir, I've heard him speak, cold and gold and old and bold. Sing for your suppers, you priest who scold. Well, between those two books, the two Psychic Awakening books, it definitely gives the impression that the Emperor is waking up, which I still believe it's on the back end. It's waking up, especially after reading Plague War, where Gilliman is essentially talking to an avatar, an avatar of the Emperor, who comes out onto the battlefield and helps him fight off Mortarion. Even Mortarion, I believe, in that book recognizes his father in the Avatar's body. I'm not going to spoil anymore. I should have said spoiler alert, but that book's been out for like a year and a half, so that's on you if you haven't read it. At any rate, he could be waking up. I still think he is, but there's somebody we didn't think about, and some of the text also kind of refers to him. During the Horus Heresy, before the Horus Heresy, Sanguinius met a Necron overlord or something along that lines that was called the Silent King. And the Silent King and Sanguinius, I don't know if they, knocked back a couple brews together, sipped some wine, or just generally has some good chat. But that the Silent King, and I cannot remember his name. Actually, I couldn't find any references to his name, but he started wearing a golden mask on his face, emulating, or maybe not in praise of, but because he was impressed with Sanguinius, so he started wearing that golden mask. And there's some belief, and there's some hints that this could be the Silent King, which would be how they're going to tie in the psychic awakening with the Necrons who have no psychic abilities whatsoever. How are they going to tie this all in? So it could very well be that the Necrons, they're going to get this Silent King as a character, or whenever they eventually get their new codex, it'll be him that's waking up. So I don't know, man. It's all still up in the air. They're being ridiculously vague on this, and we're only 3 books in, about to drop book 4 in about 3 weeks. So yeah, it could be a clone of the Emperor of Mankind, one above all. I don't know. I mean, there's so many different possibilities here of who and what this person could be. I mean, it could be both. This could actually be 2 references to 2 different characters, but the similarities is enough to pretty much act as a red herring. I think that's the right term, red herring, to get you looking over here, seeing what's on the right hand, but you're not seeing what's coming from the left. So you're expecting a hit from the right, but you're going to get slapped from the left. It could be just a big distraction, that fact that the Silent King is awakening for Necrons. Though he's still important, he's not as big as the Emperor waking up, which could be the Soul Wars or the Age of Sigmar equivalent for Warhammer 40,000, moving it from 8th edition, which we've talked about for next year, that a new edition, which I don't think it'll be 9th edition, it'll just be, hey, everything that we've been doing, we are now wrapping up story-wise. We're now cleaning up the rules. We've had a lot of feedback from you guys for the past 2.5 years. Here is the new edition, which Space Marine Codexes and the Psychic Awakening books are showing the direction the game is going to be going. And between all of that, we'll have a new edition, not 9th edition, but I keep calling it this. It's not the name. If it is, Games Workshop, please give me credit. Age of the Emperor. Or the Age of Mankind. It could be the Age of Mankind. It's like, if you read all the stories, mankind is starting to turn around. Even though they look like they're on the back foot, they are starting to make some headway against Chaos and Xenos. So we'll see. We got a lot more to come. I wanted to point out that there was a new segment. I want to talk about the state of the meta for tournament play, just very briefly. As I've mentioned many times, is if with this edition, the status quo never stays the same. It constantly cycles. So a lot of people, when Space Marine Codexes came out and the supplements come out and they started doing well all of a sudden from nearly around Age of Redemption. I like that. Sorry, got distracted. After about 2 years of being middle to bottom, I would say middle, occasionally popping up high on the roster, tournament rosters, Space Marines have had pretty much a golden era. And we said, give it a couple months, and all of a sudden those things will start switching. Now, mind you, Space Marines, mainly Iron Hands, Imperial Fists, Ultramarines, were not dominating every single major or GT, sorry. But they were, a lot of those had the in the top 10. There's a lot of Space Marine lists where you would see maybe one or two, and it's usually something to do with Blood Angels. So now you finally get to see other chapters out of the Space Marine Codex being on top for a while, and what a lot of people don't realize is, yes, they are powerful, very diverse, a lot of working components there that make them very effective. What people did not take into account is nobody knew really how to deal with it, because they weren't expecting Space Marines to sweep in and start doing so well in this edition. So that caught a lot of people off guard, and so at tournaments people were struggling. And then once people started learning the in and outs, and they learned what they could do, what they couldn't do against Space Marines, and how to get around it, we started seeing that change happen. It was slow at first, but other people were still in those top 10s, and in some cases outperforming the Space Marines, though the Space Marine detractors, for whatever's valid or invalid about their arguments, still complained that Space Marines are so, and I hate this term, overpowered. They need to be nerfed. Blah 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 blah. Well, they don't need to be, because people found a way around it. And recently at the Fight Before Christmas tournament, there was the top three, and I don't know about the rest. I didn't check to see what the rest of the list were, but the top three were Eldar, and Chaos Space Marines. And that was no Space Marines whatsoever in the top three. Hey, what's going on, man? So I'm going to read off a couple of the army list. There is Nick Nanavanti. He placed third with an Eldar battalion. I guess I can read these off. An Eldar battalion with a Warlock Skyrunner, a Spirit Seer, and 3 squads of 5 Rangers. An Eldar Supreme Command detachment, Farseer Skyrunner, 10 Warlocks on bikes. And then Children of Prophecy battalion with Urian, a Homunculus, 3 squads of 9 Racks, and 2 squads of 7 Grotesques. I don't know too much about the Eldar, but he placed third, and he's a good player anyways, but he doesn't always get in the top 3. He doesn't always win every game. He's just a smart player. He found a way around. Then there's Jack Harpster, same thing, almost the exact, actually, oh no, not the same thing. So I'll read this off. Elder Battalion, 10 Warlocks on bikes, Farseer and Skyrunner, 3 squads of 5 Dire Avengers, an Eldar Battalion with a Farseer, Warlock Skyrunner, a squad of Rangers, 2 squads of 8 Storm Guardians, and then a Spearhead of Eldar, Autarch, 3 Fire Prisms, and 3 Night Spinners. He placed second. And then the top player was, Tim Larrigan. He's a well-known Chaos player, well-known player overall, and his is it's a lot. I'm not going to try to read over well, maybe I will. Alpha Legion, Dark Apostle, Master Possession. He's got 18 possessed. Wow, 18 possessed. A Supreme Command Detachment, 1,000 Suns, Ahriman, 2 Demon Princes of Zinch, and then a battalion with 2 Poxbringers, 3 groups of 3 Nurglings, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, and then reinforcements. Those are probably demons. Probably the looking at those points, it's probably a bunch of what are the psychic dudes called? Pink and blue horrors and brimstones. Probably the way that it looks like it's broken down is it's probably doing that bomb where you start throwing them everywhere. So the point of all this, instead of just reading this all off to you guys and boring you with those lists, is that the Space Marines, it was a limited time. It only took a matter of time for other players to figure it out, how to beat them. And it just comes down with any new book that comes out that's seemingly overpowered, unbeatable, invincible. All it takes is for somebody to take the time, instead of stop doing the same thing they've been doing over and over again, and using some strategy, using some tactics to deal with a new threat, instead of just playing the same army over and over again that you got comfortable in, that rut that you got in. And tournament players get kind of bad about this, is they get stuck with just one list with tiny variations. And anytime there's a disruption to the status quo, it's almost table flipping time. Like, oh my gosh, I can never play this game again. It's so OP, it's so broken, I'm gonna quit. Not everybody is like that. Just some people get like that, which is really ridiculous at the end of the day. That, in my opinion, that's my opinion, not the opinion of FNP or Houston, Texas, or me as a Warzone Houston co-owner. But me as just an individual, that some people, they just go to the far right or the far left, and not politically speaking, but or high and to the right. They just explode without taking time to digest. Yeah, it's very impressive when these new armies come out. It's, wow, man, holy crap, what am I going to do with this? But it comes down to sitting down and playing the game. You sit down and play the game, and you find out how you get around it. It's just like playing, it's like playing a war game. But in this case, you don't have real stake odds where you're actually, your troops and stuff are actually getting killed and stuff in real life. You're playing a war games on a tabletop, and you have an opportunity to learn without without the cost. And yeah, it's a little frustrating at first, but you've got to retool your thinking. But you should be retooling your thinking anyways when you're playing in a tournament setting, because you never know who your opponent is going to be. And even if you face off against several opponents that are using a similar list, like let's use Iron Hands for example. So that's the one big complaint everybody seems to have, is not every guy that you face that has an Iron Hands list is going to have the exact same list, and they're not going to play it the exact same way. And then there's so many different dynamics involved. I'm not going to get into all the dynamics that you have to worry about, but people need to really pay attention to what you can and cannot do. You can't just sit there and freak out every time a new codex comes out that seems to be very powerful. All right, let's get on to a couple things here. I wanted to talk very briefly about, as I'm making some clicks here, to see if Warhammer community page updated. Any updates? No updates today. That's okay. Let me check chat real quick here. I can't wait to bring my old school mindset to this new age of 40K. After 20 years of not playing Nids and Necrons. Yeah, it's that's kind of why I took a hiatus. One above all, I've stopped playing 40K games probably now for months, and I probably won't be playing the game until maybe January, but probably not till springtime or late or early spring or pre-spring or March, pretty much March, because I want to refresh. I want to go on a sabbatical, reset my brain pan. I want to play other games, because playing other games will actually improve my Warhammer 40,000 playing, not from the different types of gameplay, but the different tactics I'm employing. And I'm going to watch other people playing. Like a friend of mine, Nathan, plays Nurgle very, very well, as he's not a high damage output army, but he's a high scoring army. So I'm learning from him, hearing him talk about what tactics he's used, or watching him use tactics, and then applying that to how I play with Space Marines, since I'm not going to budge from Space Marines. So it's just one of those things that you kind of need to take a step back and do a reset. So I really strongly suggest, if you play Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar and you are tournament, just huge player, you're not playing any other games, take a break and reset your brain pan. Even if it's just, hey, don't touch any Warhammer stuff, don't look at any forums, don't read any rule books for a week, and play, and don't even do anything for a week. And then after that week is up, play a different game. Nothing Games Workshop related, or whatever game system you're doing. Like I'm switching over to Atomic Mass Games, their Marvel Crisis Protocol, because it's more fun, and it's a much quicker play, a lot more interactive, and I really like the structure of the game. It's a high quality game, and it's just going to pick up popularity once more characters drop. Because right now we only have 14 characters dropped, and I know we've got a bunch more coming just after the first of the year. Oops, what's going on here? All right, so if you're not familiar with Marvel Crisis Protocol, this top pay, or these 12 characters are the first 12. MODOK and Hulk are separate. More recently, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment, is Black Panther and Killmonger. And then you have a host of more characters coming. And we know that there's at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more characters coming that we've seen images of. So by springtime, we're probably going to be around 20 plus characters. And you're likely only going to be playing about 4 to 5 characters at a time. So basically lots of armies. So what I want to talk about is, I just last night I watched a gameplay of Black Panther and Killmonger. Let's see if do I have those images? So Killmonger, I'm looking at his stat card. I'm not going to read everything off, but he's modestly priced at 4 points. He's got 6 wounds on one side, 5 wounds on his injured side. And this guy is a character killer. He is the guy that you, just like his namesake in the comic books, and even though this is not the movie version, it's by Michael B. Jordan. It is very similar. I mean, he went after to kill the king. This guy is definitely a king killer, and he has some action cards that really like or usurp, the usurp. The usurp. I mean, I can't talk right now. Usurp the throne. This one I will read. He can spend 3 energy or 3 power to play the card. This round, Killmonger adds 2 dice to his attack rolls when attacking the enemy character with the highest threat value. If Killmonger dazes or KOs the character this round, his controlling player scores 2 victory points. So that's big on a game that has 16 victory points max. If there is a tie for highest level threat, you get to choose which one you go for. And you tag in everything else. Like every time he dazes or KOs an enemy character, he gains kill count tokens that give him extra rerolls. He's got a lot of like Black Ops Strike. If he deals damage with this attack, which he gets 7 dice for that, 7 dice is resolved. The character, after this attack is resolved, place the character within 1 inch of the target. That character is also staggered. So this thing has a far range. So it's like he's sprinting forward, getting into close combat, and then you just place him within 1 inch of the target. And that could be anywhere within 1 inch. So he's really good at going after characters that have maybe picked up an icon or a objective and running in there, kicking the crap out of them, forcing them to drop the icon, maybe dazing them or killing them or KOing them, and then picking up the relic or the objective and running with it. I mean, he's not overly fast. He's got a medium speed, but this guy Killmonger is definitely lives up to his name. His charge ability. Oh, thanks. I'm not going to try to pronounce your screen name. His charge ability. This is the one I saw in effect yesterday too. This character immediately makes a move action followed by an attack action. This power can be used only once per turn. So basically, normally you get 2 actions. So you can move and then get into close combat. But in this case, you can use this power, move forward, and do an attack action, and then do another attack action. So this guy is... Oh, it's Andreas. This guy is really good at killing characters, man. I'm telling you, he is a character killer. You are going to want him in your group. And for team affiliations, he counts as under Wakanda. So you'll be able to use him with Black Panther, Shuri, and Okoye when they come out. Now, Black Panther, I'm just going to go over here really quickly. Let's see. Black Panther. And, man, these 2 models are ripped. They are so muscly. I know muscly is not a word, but they're so ripped, man. They did a good job sculpting these 2 models. And they go together really freaking easy. All right. So T'Challa is pretty much the same, except 4 points. So not too expensive. That's about the average price, I would say. 3 to 4 points seems to be the average price. He's got 6 health on both sides, and he's got long movement. I'm going to measure those rulers because I'd like to know how many inches they are. But he's got long movement, so it's very far. He's got a variety of really powerful attacks that have lots of special abilities if you manage to cause damage or get a wild dice. He has his team affiliation, and this is where it comes into play. After an allied character rolls attack, defense, or a dodge dice, it may spend 1 power. If it does that, the character may re-roll 1 of the dice in that roll. So that's very good. That's just by being on his team. That's a huge bonus. He has a couple other abilities. Spend 2 power. When making attacks this turn, the character may re-roll any number of its attack dice, which is a huge help. Except the only one you can't re-roll is the, I believe it's the skull dice, which is the critical fail. I think the critical fail dice. Oh, okay. So currently you can't use the Wakanda unless it's more than half of the squad. Oh, so it is more than half. It's not equal to or half. Okay. So anyways, so reroll that. He's got an ability that's awesome called Pounce. this character is essentially, he's thrown himself. He doesn't take any damage if he collides with another character or terrain feature. This power can only be used once per turn. So basically, you spend power, if I'm understanding this, to get a free move. I think. Maybe. That's what it looks like to me. And then you get in close and you can do all sorts of combat stuff. He has a passive ability. It's awesome. Vibranium armor. When defending against energy or physical attacks, this character adds blanks in its defense rolls to its total successes. Blanks are bad. But this guy, Black Panther, is just like Black Widow. They can count against those type of attacks any blanks that you roll, which give you nothing. They can count those as successes for defense. So, yeah, Black Panther is definitely, he's very hardy, very quick. He can take a lot of hits, it looks like. He can dish out some damage, but he looks like, I would almost say like a mini tank. I could be wrong with that, but I would say almost like he's a tank. He can take a lot of damage, he can dish it out, but yeah, I mean, he's very utilitarian and very cheap at 4 points. I mean, even his basic attack that doesn't cost anything. It's 5 dice worth. He gains power equal to the damage he deals, and then before damage is dealt, you can push characters away. So this is good at hitting an opponent, pushing their character away from an objective, which could, especially as you're getting, if you activate him near the end of, ideally you want to use him to push enemies off of objectives, which could, by the end of that phase, and you do the cleanup phase, could prevent them from scoring that turn. So he's really good for that, or pushing them in towards an opponent, or pushing them towards a building. Push doesn't count towards colliding, so don't worry about that. He's got kinetic burst. This is another good one. He gets to roll 6 dice. It's awfully expensive. It costs 3 power, but when you make this attack, and during the pay cost step of the attack, this character may spend up to 3 additional power. Add 1 die to this attack for each power spent in this way. So you can get up to 9 dice. And I believe, let's see here. Okay. One above all, to get into the game, this is the kind of a hard part. Essentially, it's a $99.95. That right there gets you the rule book, the terrain, the dice, the measuring sticks, and an entire roster of 10 characters. Most you'll be using at a time is 5 characters, and all the tokens and everything else with that. It's a little pricey to get into, but if you were to buy all that stuff separate, you're actually saving yourself. The average cost is around $35 per 2 characters. So if you think you're getting 5 sets of that, so that's what's that, 70. It's you're getting about over $200 worth of stuff, because the rulers are $19.95. I think it's $9.95 for this set of dice, and who knows how to put a cost on the terrain. Well, the terrain is about $40, so you are saving a considerable amount of money to just buy the starter box. But once you have that box, you really don't need to do anything else. You don't have to buy more characters. You've got everything you need right there. And the only reason why you would buy more characters is because the characters look cool and you want to run them. That's it. Once you spend that $99, that $100, you're set. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. So, yeah, large size models are $35 individually. But when I was checking pricing, some of them are actually, the pricing is going to be a little wonky, but on some of the models, but everything's going to be under $40. Under $40 for the miniatures, which is actually cheaper than, say, a Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar character, which runs you approximately $30 to $40 for a character, a regular size character. Not talking about Marnius Calgar or Gilliman, Mortarion, or anything like that. I'm talking about a regular blister character. You are getting two characters plus their. Let me put up these things. This is what their cards look like. Injured or regular healthy side, injured side. Plus, inside each of those packs, you get a variety of new mission cards, new team cards, new action cards. So you get a lot. Not just the miniatures themselves. You're getting more than what Games Workshop or any other company does. You don't have to worry about buying codexes because inside each of these packs come everything you need to play those characters. And you could, if you wanted to, you could go to their shop or go to your friendly local gaming store. And I'm going to pull up. I got the gallery pulled up right now. So besides these base characters right here, Baron Zemo, Black Widow, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Red Skull, Iron Man, Dr. Octopus, Crossbones, Ultron, and Spider-Man, who all come in the starter box. And you can mix heroes and villains. You have access to, I'm not going to read off all of these, but starting with the Hulk, working our way down through all these characters that are coming. And the terrain set right there is $50, which you actually get more in this than you do. You get one building, and I think a couple other things more than you do in the core set, just a little bit extra. All these characters. Oh, it doesn't have the dice packs. I guess I will go to the shop so you guys can see what this looks like. There's the dice pack, gives you 10 dice, not 2 as it shows there. The terrain pack, where's I don't see there's the measuring tools. Gives you all the measuring tools you need, which is actually, there's 3 sets. You got your movement and you got your range. And does it come with anything? No, it doesn't come with anything else. And then the terrain pack. Now you get all this terrain already in the core box minus one of these buildings. So all of this is already in the box, and you need you need a lot of terrain. Ideally, you want a lot of terrain. I think 12 to 20 was recommended, and you get 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 pieces in the box set. And so, I mean, you don't need much more. And playtime says 90 minutes. It could, your first couple of games, yeah, you're probably going to be spending that time doing that. Anyways, let's see. You also said more characters are coming. How much will those be? Well, let me back up and I'll give you an idea. I would recommend one above all is that you that you check with your local game store. I at least know at my store, Atomic Hobby Shop in Cyprus, whenever pre-orders come up, we always do 15% off pre-orders. So I don't know if that helps. If your local store does pre-orders, I would do that. Because I think you're in Baytown, I think you said. Don't know what's out there in Baytown. I think Gollum's Gate, maybe? I'm not sure which stores. Anyway, so like Black Panther and Killmonger was $34. $39.95 is going to be Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. Those are massive characters that are on much larger bases than the regular. Gamora and Nebula, I'm not sure why they're nearly $40. Man, there's a lot of new ones coming out that are, I guess maybe, it's weird how they're doing their pricing. I don't understand it. I can understand Loki and Hela because you're getting a large character and a smaller character. Crisis, not Crisis. There's Rocket and Groot, it's $40. So it looks like it's going to be average of $40. So per character, I mean at most $40, $39.95. Shuri and Okoye, Star-Lord will be $24.95. Thor and Valkyrie, $39.95. Venom, $24.95. Is there more characters? Oh yeah, Vision and Winter Soldier, $40. So it looks like the average is going to be about $40, or about $35 is. Yeah, you guys. Then yeah, you do need a gaming store. I'm not sure where you could get, but yeah, I would check your local stores or ones that you're comfortable driving to and see if they offer a pre-order discount, or if you're military, ask if they can do a military discount. We do that at our store. We could probably, if you can't get it at any of your local stores and you're interested in it, you could reach out to the Atomic Hobby Shop on Facebook, and we can look at getting it shipped. We'll just figure out what the shipping is. We can get it probably shipped to you if that helps you at all. But I would definitely recommend this game. Oh my gosh, I am way over on my time. I guess I'm not getting to work early today. Screw that. But I would say give it a go. Oh, you know what? I can also help you with a little bit there. One above all is if you want to check it out. Maybe you even have hero clicks and you're gonna have to like do some real crazy working here just to try out the rules. If you have some like hero click models or even some GW models, you just want to test out the rules, not movement, because I don't know what the exact distance is for their measurement tools, because they a tool or a measuring stick that says 3, it's a size 3, that I don't know, it's not 3 inches, it's probably more like 5 to 6 inches. So I don't know. Anyways, what I wanted to point out is just to give the rules a look over on the Atomic Mass games page. You can click on, I think, on large. Well, let's just large size this. At the top here they have everything that you need. You can just click on rules, and they have a printable PDF and a digital PDF. You can click on those, download for free, and it's the full rule book. Minus the characters, because the characters all come on those cards. So you can take a look at the rules, give it a look-see to see if it seems like something you'd like to try. And if you have some 8-sided dice you want to try just to see how combat goes, you'll have to try to figure out what numbers are which on the dice and everything. But at least you can have a good idea of how to play this game before you buy into it. All right. I don't know if there's anything else. What? No, I think we're good. Okay. Sorry, I caught myself off guard here. So I hope you give it a try. One above all, the 21st, we were going to be having our kind of a pseudo tournament for it, because it does allow for organized play. A lot of people though have dropped out because I very foolishly scheduled this right before the holiday weekends, and it's also on the release day for Star Wars. So it's release weekend for Star Wars. So getting people to actually come in now it's like, oh my God, we forgot we had tickets, that we bought 3 months ago for Star Wars. So it's going to be just, we're going to do some demos, probably just get a whole bunch of games in, and then we'll start our league play and like a tournament play in January in 2020. So it's something to think about. And we will be doing some live streaming here soon and some recorded videos as well. So I got to get going because I'm going to be super late for work. No, not late for work. I'm going to be behind my own schedule. But I hope it was an entertaining show for y'all. And I will talk to you guys probably. Should be oh no, I gotta be down at the Veteran Affairs Hospital tomorrow, so I will talk to you all on Thursday. Y'all have yourself a good week. Give those rules a try when you have time. One above all, maybe when you're sitting on your golden throne and you need something to read, give it a look over. See what you think. If you got a tablet or smartphone that you can pull those rules up on and enjoy. For the rest of y'all, I got to get going. I'm going to be late. So enjoy your day. If you are on the page and you've not liked it before, hit this, where's my finger here? Subscribe button above my head. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you have to jump through a couple clicks, but you can actually subscribe every month for free using Amazon Prime. And if you're on YouTube, you can jump over here and do the same thing, or you guys can jump over to YouTube when I upload this video later on today. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Once we get to 3,000 people on YouTube, it opens up some more doors for us to get us more access to other companies, giving us, a little bit of sponsorship, not necessarily for free stuff, but previews and sneak peeks and maybe some interviews and such like that. So lots of things. We're right around the corner from hitting that milestone. So anything you guys can do to help us, I appreciate it. All right, I got to get going. You all have yourself a good... Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you, sir. Let me send a big thanks. Awesome. Super happy. All right, I got to get going. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. There's a small chance I won't be doing a show because I'm working till 9. So I will not be doing a show tonight, but I will talk to you guys later.